Well, hello there, good people. Hi, I'm Jason with Green Country Agroforestry, coming to you from, well, right outside our grape arbor here, without the grapes. But we are going to correct that problem today, because today is the day that we're going to get those grapes planted. It's January the 24th. We don't have much of winter left before it's time for everything to wake up. Some things are already starting to wake up. I've got a handy-dandy little thermometer here, which I can just point at the ground and get us reading, and I am reading, look at this. Look at this. Here at the bird bath, we can get a reading, and we're getting just 70 degrees. The water in the bird bath is 70 degrees. So it is, 71, sorry, my bad. It is a nice warm day, so it's a great time to be outside and working, and we're going to get those grapevines put in really quick here, so come along. Now, it's not just the grapevines, we have other things in here as well. Let's get this unpackaged and have a look at it. Now, as I mentioned before, the Muscadine grapes are a North American native grape. They grew up here, they developed here, they're from here, and if you're in North America and are having a hard time getting grapes to grow, it might be, just possibly, that you're attempting to grow a grape that's climate adapted for another part of the world. So Scuppernongs are a Muscadine grape that produces bronze colored fruit, sort of a green with a reddish tint around it. Very, very pretty, and should produce some interesting wine if I actually get wine. All right, loosen up our soil here a bit. There we go. Go down a little bit more. As far as soil types go, they tend to like sandy soil, and sweeter fruit will come from more calcium. So when it comes to sweetness, these grapes are rather interesting. You might be familiar with Concord grapes, the sweet Concord grape. That has a sugar percentage of about 14%. What is this one here? This is the Tara Scuppernong grape that we're getting ready to plant. Has a sugar content of about 17%, so it's sweeter than the Concord. Just dump that in there. Make ourselves a little mud puddle. Sweeter than a Concord. I'll take that. That sounds good to me. Just get the soil mixed up here good. Got some good root contact. There we go. Alright, so getting this down in here, we're going to just put the roots all the way down and then pull them back up. So let them set in that muck. There we go. And then we'll just bring our mulch back in around. Just like that. There we have planted our first grapevine. Alright, so these two little tiny twigs that we've got here are Sambucus Canadensis, or the American Elderberry. Now, this is a bushy plant that can grow, if you let it go, up to like 4 meters wide and 4 meters tall. That's about 13 feet wide, 13 feet tall. We're not going to let this little guy here get quite that big, because we're going to plant it right here at the corner, and we'll shape it so it makes most of its growth out and over this area, which incidentally is where I'm planning on putting a small fish pond at some point in the future. It should look pretty good whenever it gets older, but for right now, well, as you can see, it's just a little. So if you're watching Mary's video, which will probably release before this one, if you're watching Mary's video, then you already know that that Sambucus Canadensis is a great source of antioxidants, particularly vitamin C, and has been used homeopathically, of course, and anecdotally as medicine for the treatment of diseases, infections, and illnesses of all sorts. So other things that you would know from watching the video that Mary recorded, Sambucus Canadensis, or the American Elder, when planted near compost heaps, helps to ferment the compost, so it accelerates decomposition. Of course, if you have it planted in your garden somewhere, then that accelerated decomposition would apply to any organic matter that you apply to the top. So your food forest garden, as you start laying down chop and drop or other organic inputs, it's going to accelerate the speed that they get converted into usable nutrients for your plants. So that's another great benefit. So one more thing about Sambucus Canadensis that you might be very interested to know is that the leaves and stems secrete an alkaloid sap. Might be useful as a natural latex, but more importantly, some people have been known to have allergic reactions to it or even have been poisoned by it. Don't eat the leaves, don't eat the sap, but you can take the leaves and the stems and boil them to release that sap, dilute it with water, and spray it upon plants that are suffering from conditions such as insect predation or some of the more common fungal pests in the garden, powdery mildew, for example, and leaf rot.
So this powdery mold thing?
Powdery mildew. Guess?
Where does that come from? What causes that?
Soil.
Is that a lot?
Spores live in the soil. It's very common.
Like all the time that I see that spore jump up?
But most of the time, no. Most of the spores that you see jumping up out of this mulch are not powdery mildew spores. But powdery mildew lives in the soil everywhere, and most of the time you see it whenever a broadleaf plant starts to enter its senescence or it starts to die. The powdery mildew is just what finally takes it down, and then decomposes it, breaks it down so that the leafy plant material can become part of the soil once again. It's a normal and natural process. The only time it becomes an issue is whenever you have an infestation of powdery mildew on plants that are supposed to be healthy and still growing and reproducing. They haven't finished their reproductive cycle. Then you might want to do something to stop the powdery mildew. And one thing that you can do as a natural alternative to using any kind of chemicals is make a decoction from Sambucus Canadensis leaves. Not only will it stop the powdery mildew, but it will also ward off and kill a wide variety of insects.
What a funny looking root.
So, medicinal plant,
spinning it.
tasty berries, I think so anyway, and useful for other purposes in the garden as well. You want to have elderberry in your garden, several places.
How come the root's growing up like that?
What?
Doesn't it look like one's going
That's
up?
a fresh new shoot.
Oh. Sorry, I didn't mean to be so rude.
Yeah.
I'm talking in your microphone.
This is an herbaceous perennial that ordinarily would inhabit your shrub layer in your food forest. Push it way down there and then pull it back up so the roots kind of set in that location. And then as the rest of this mud settles out, boy, the roots will be set as if they've been growing in that spot for the entire life cycle.
Get in every nook and cranny.
Every nook and cranny. Just top this off with a little bit of mulch.
You know, I was a kid, people used to dig holes, put the dirt back in, and then water it in. You like to do totally the opposite.
Yep.
You like to make your mud.
Well, it gets me good soil contact.
Yeah, I think so. Because I remember one time you didn't do it that way when we first started out, and there must have been a giant gopher hole in there.
Well,
somehow that one pear tree still made it over there. Oh, there you go.
Alright, there's my little spiderwort.
Spiderwort, my bad. Sorry.
Yeah.
I want to say snakewort.
Got this from Mark Sambucus.
If it doesn't kill it.
Well, this isn't the one I got from him. This is a baby that I made. I took cuttings from the one that he gave me, and grew the cuttings, and then I started spreading them around. So if something happens to the one that he gave me, well, I've got backup. There we go. Just lay this wood right there on the top. It'll decompose down just fine, especially with the aid of the root exudates from Sambucus Canadensis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, and then right there for the camera makes 5. All right. Hey, Birdie. Where you at, Birdie? All right. So as the sun's getting ready to leave us here, I'm marking off spots here next to the gopher-proof bed. We're going to extend these gopher-proof beds out and around, make a big little L shape with them. And next to these, we're going to be planting some mulberry trees. So I'm just marking off where the mulberries are going to go. But I'm out of time for today, so that's all I've got for today, good people. As always, found the video informative or entertaining. You know what to do. I'll catch you next time. It should look pretty good whenever it gets older. But for right now, well, as you can see, it's just a little twig. I've got two of them. I've got another one I'm going to put over here next to where the cherry trees are going. I'm going to plant that one first, and then we'll come back around and plant this one, and you can see how we go about planting an elderberry.